Hi, everyone. Welcome to the RCN Show, episode 28, chatting with and learning about the Fine Life Method with Andrew Perrie from Fine Estates team founder, sales representative of Revel Realty. Today is August the 22nd. Michelle, I can't believe it's going by so fast.
I know. It seems like this year just begun, and we're already into the end of August.
I know, absolutely crazy. Um, but glad to have everybody here. And yes, I'm playing with the graphics. The month is moving by very, very quickly indeed. As I mentioned, the Realtors Choice Network show, the RCN show, is just part of our Realtors Choice Network. Our Realtors Choice Network is serving 142 cities throughout North America with 140,000 plus business members and over 80,000 realtor members. Check it out anytime at realtorschoicenetwork.com. Now, I've talked about things a lot, and we've had some incredible people on our show, but this one is one that stands out. Michelle, you might recall speaking with George last week, and our guest is probably seeing him on our screen right now as well. This is George Tremis from GT Realty Group, and he's becoming not only just a partner of ours, he is also a sponsor. And what I mean by that is he has supported us since day one. Michelle, I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but he was going to be one of the original co-hosts, but his business is just simply too busy, and he didn't have the time to dedicate to it. So what he's going to be doing is he's going to be offering different programs. You might recall one of his teaching programs called Money Mountain, things like that. He's going to be doing live Zoom events once a month, and we're going to be talking about them periodically on the show. So again, welcome and thank you for your sponsorship, George, from GT Realty, and reach him at 1-866-530-7737. Again, lots of exciting things coming down, and this is hot off the press. Like, this literally happened this morning and last night, so I just thought I'd throw them up there anyways. Okay. Our RCN show, again, how it all comes together, let's just quickly talk about this. As you know, as you can see, it is live on Facebook, live on our Facebook group, live on LinkedIn. It's also on YouTube. And once we're done the show, we download the recording and we host it on our podcast channels, Spotify, Stitcher, Castbox, Google Podcasts, and of course, Anchor. So again, I'm going to be using these slides a little bit moving forward, Michelle, just because it sort of helps me stay focused. The ADD in me and craziness sometimes gets the better part of me, and I forget to talk about things and whatnot. So I thought I'd have some Cole's notes. Okay, that said, I'm going to bring on our guest here right away. Our guest, Andrew Perrie, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, he's nodding his head. I can see him in the waiting room. I'll bring him on here right away. Is, like I say, the founder and the team lead at the fineestateteam.com, revelrealty.ca, and he's going to be talking about the Fine Life Method. And when I've been going on his LinkedIn and websites, there's incredible information here. And you're probably not familiar with the area, Michelle, but they specialize and serve the Niagara region, Muskoka region, and Simcoe region of Ontario. So, there's more to Ontario than just Toronto for all you Californian folk. But it's a big province as well, and I can't wait to hear more. So let's just bring them on. Hello, Andrew. Great to have you.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Also, I should share, Michelle, our real Stacy was the one who suggested I reach out to Andrew. She said that she's just very fond of him and that he's a fun person to have on the show. So thank you, Stacy, for referring us to Andrew. Andrew, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice that you founded?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know what? I started in this business 7 years ago. Okay. And I realized, when I first got started, that real estate really is a lonely business. Okay. And although I found success in my first year, I realized that in order to grow and really live the life I want, take this company to, where we are now and beyond, of
Yeah.
course, is that it wasn't going to happen alone.
Mhm.
So that's essentially why we started the team. Fast forward a few years, and now our team's number 2 in the Niagara region.
Really?
We've probably done, if I'm counting all of our firm deals now, up to 300 million in sales volume in the past 3 years. So you know what? It's all coming together now. Every day's a learning experience for sure, but it's we've got a team of 10. We've got 2 office locations right in Niagara-on-the-Lake and Muskoka, Ontario, and then we have little satellite offices kind of spread across Ontario.
Interesting. So just so I like to take notes sometimes when we're having these conversations. You have 10 team members. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Wow.
3 admins.
And out of those 7 agents, if you will, or sales representatives, what would you say is like the collective year span of experience with those people?
So I've got 7, Crystal's got 7, Maria's got 10,
Wow.
and then the rest are in that 2 range. So I guess if
Okay.
you want to average it out, we're probably at the 5 or 6 mark.
Okay. And and you think about that many years of experience to translate into, you said 300 million roughly of closed deals with in the real estate world.
Yeah, that's right.
That's incredible. That's so. I'm only dangerous to a point with my knowledge on real estate agents, if you will. But what I do understand in this industry is that it has a very short lifespan for many people.
That's right.
A lot of people come into it with high expectations, don't succeed, and then are gone and disappear, and they go back to what they were doing before, maybe, or whatever the case. What do you think you guys do differently that keeps these agents around for so long? And I guess the next question is how long has a Fine Estates team been around for?
So I originally started it actually, in my 2nd or 3rd year in real estate,
Good.
so a while ago.
Yeah.
The team was certainly not what it was now.
Mhm.
It failed within 3 months. It was a complete bomb. No idea what the hell I was doing. And I try to be careful with calling it a failure, because it certainly taught me a lot of how to continue, how not to continue doing the bad habits and all the things that I was translating my own experiences into my new experience, which was the team.
Right.
So now I took all of that and learned a lot and started the team. So this team basically started. I took another year break and then started this team a year later. So this is our 3rd full year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just been it's been an interesting time. And in terms of, I guess we're going into our 4th year now. So, anyways, the revolving door of real estate industry is wild,
It is.
especially in the teams category. Not a lot of people that stay on teams for a long time, but when they do, there's a reason for it. And I think the biggest misconception of anybody getting into any industry, so for one, a realtor might get into the industry thinking, exactly like you said, hey, you know what, it can't be that difficult if this person's doing it, if that person's doing it, and they're finding success. Why can't I? Which is absolutely true, but it certainly does not come easy. Now, I think the biggest thing is when a realtor goes into a team, they kind of have that same mindset, and they kind of feel like, okay, if I join this team, my business will increase because they're going to give it to me, which is true and not true. We're going to give you all the tools. We're going to give you the coaching, the accountability. What gets measured gets improved. We're going to break down your KPIs, key performance indicators. We're going to figure out what your conversion rates are. Why are you going like this and not like this? Definitely not like that. And let's break it down and try to create a plan for you. Where that's the value. The value is not, okay, great, you got 1,000 leads last year from the team, but you didn't sell any. So would you rather have been taught the fundamentals, the accountability, and have that support and marketing behind you, or would you rather just sit on the phones and call people all day and not sell anything?
Right.
So there's a big disconnect between the values of what the term exponential growth means. And so that's why we've been able to keep people so long, is because we do believe in the value of exponential growth. And what I mean by that is that we're going to give you those tools to completely set you up. We're going to fast track everything that I've learned in the past 7 years
Right.
and condense it into your first 12 months. And by that time, you're going to be fully set up and ready to go for your, at least 6 months in or by year 2. And so we also understand that what are you going to do once you get to your goals? Like, what's next after that?
Right.
And that's what I'm a big believer in, right? So with us, there's always the next step. So you start off as a new realtor, and once you start doing well, you might turn into a senior realtor or a mentor, like we call it. And your job now is to, help the younger people get off the ground, help the new to the industry people get off the ground. And then from there, we have other opportunities where that can translate into the VP of sales, a regional director. Hey, we're opening up a new office in a new market. We would love to send you there and help get things off the ground. You could become a director with us. You can take my position. I've always told and maintained my entire team that nobody's safe, not even including me. Every day's an interview. If there's somebody better to run this company other than me, they're going to be in my spot, and I'll find something else. It's just something where it's never the Andrew Perrie team. It's the Fine Estates team.
Well, I like that, and I appreciate it. It's the Fine Estates team to begin with. So let's just go right back to that. Now you're pumping out some pretty interesting information here. One,
the thing is that we're all striving for something.
Yeah, well, for sure, succeed, right? Yeah, everyone needs to succeed. I get that, but I'm really liking. So I want to call it like a parent style managing. Like, what I mean by that is, as a parent, it's our job to try to learn from our mistakes and pass on to our children so they don't go through the same mistakes. And that's nice to hear when it comes to a team member and a team lead, is that you're passing on your experience. What we haven't talked about is you're a Revel Realty, right? Revel is the corporate brand of your team. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, they're the brokerage. Yep.
Okay, and so your offices are your team offices with the Revel brokerage, and so that's something to be said there alone. Before I met Stacy, I had never heard of Revel. I spoke with some people in Revel since then, and to hear that it's got a pretty good reputation in the Ontario market. So what interests me is the fact that now you're in the Niagara region, Muskoka, and Simcoe. Can you share with us a little bit more about those regions and why those are your regions of focus, or your farm, if you will, where you're farming?
Absolutely. And you know what? I say this a lot, and sometimes I can articulate it where people are like, "Hey, I get it." Sometimes I fumble it, but I'm going to give it a try.
Okay.
So for me, I think it just comes down to laziness. I try. It comes like what I said before. If somebody's better than me, hey, let's why not take the ego out of it? Because my laziness tells me that I would much rather have somebody do my job, especially if I can still reap the same benefits.
Okay.
Right? And it's the same thing with where I've chosen to run my market. For number one, I love living here. I've always wanted to live here. The town provides all the marketing that I could ever do. It's free content. You don't have to make stuff up, get creative, because the town speaks for itself. It's world-renowned wines. It has some of the best well-known communities. It has some of the best lifestyle, sports, recreation. We shut down the whole street, dress up in white, pink, depending on what the season or the event is, and we all sit on tables and we have wine and we have dinner. I mean, honestly, that sells itself. It's like Aspen. It's like New York. LA. It's these certain areas literally sell themselves. All I got to do is help spread the word a little bit more. And then when it comes to Muskoka, it's the same thing, except you're 3.5 hours north from where we are in Niagara-on-the-Lake. But all my clients, they either live in Niagara-on-the-Lake and they have a cottage in Muskoka, or they have maybe a winter home in Florida. So
Right.
it's just, I'm following where my clients are. Again, it's
Mhm.
not me being lazy. I'm just following where they're going to benefit them and my business.
Okay. So, Michelle, what did you think of that in particular, the lifestyle and Niagara-on-the-Lake is a destination similar to yours. So, Andrew, Michelle's in Fresno in California. Okay. Niagara-on-the-Lake is known for its wineries. And although in Canada our season's a little bit shorter than it is in California, I thought of California right there when they're talking about all the tables that people blocking off a street, sitting at a big long table, wearing white and sharing dinner and wine outside. That's pretty cool, don't you think?
You know, just being from California, anywhere you go in the States, you tell people that you're from California, they go, "Oh, wow, you're from California." So I kind of get what Andrew is saying about that area because if it's popular,
Yeah,
right? And I remember when I was a kid, I visited. I lived in Missouri, which is
yeah.
Midwest in the United States, and the kids from school found out that I came to California, and I came back, and they saw me, and I was listening to them. They said, "Oh my God, did you get a tan? You were in California, you know." So just being in certain places, being from maybe the Niagara area or the area that you're speaking of, I've never been there, but just to hear you speak of it is like going back to my childhood, hearing those same the
Yeah.
kids say, "Oh, you went to California? Oh my gosh, you got a tan." And there's nothing about me to change. I went there wintertime, but just just having that, knowing that knowing that I went there, it brought a lot of attention because California is like so important, especially in the real estate world. You know, people
Right.
think that California is like the highest real estate in all of the United States, which is not true.
Uh-huh.
New York is actually probably the highest real estate in California, but the way people look at certain areas. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I would feel that, and being out there in white or pink, whatever the season would be, that would be an amazing thing for me to do. I would love to do that. That's for
Yeah.
Well, and Muskoka too. Like Muskoka is heaven, Michelle. It's like majestic lake country, and it's known in our country to be, like just pristine and beautiful. And when people talk about the Muskoka region, they have just such a proud folk factor and delivery. And when they just speak so confidently of that area, they love it. And it's an older area too, is it not, Andrew? Muskoka?
Oh yeah. It's been there, as long as it's been there in the popularity list as long as I can remember.
For sure. Now you said this is an area, so I'm assuming you're living in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Is that correct? Where you're living now?
Yeah. I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake, in what we call Old Town. Yeah.
Okay. And where were you from originally?
It's 2 hours north in a little town called Innisfil.
Innisfil. Okay. So yeah, Ontario has got so many different cool areas and big cities, and it's just got everything. I love the province of Ontario. Now, this is what I love the show about what we're doing. Okay, Andrew, I've met with hundreds of realtors. I've talked with many of them. You're the first one to talk about wearing white and having a long table on a closed off street and having dinner. I like that. I was also going to point out, I'm hoping that you're doing that for the Winnipeg Jets whiteout party, or is that something different?
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'm from Winnipeg, and when we dress in white, it's usually for the Winnipeg Jets.
No, Leafs fan over here.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to talk anymore about hockey. That's for darn sure. But I'm enjoying this very much. Now, can you shed a little bit of light on the differences between what you gain from your brokerage, Revel, compared to another major competitor? What do you get with Revel? Why are you with Revel?
Honestly, for me, it's very easy.
Okay.
It's essentially everything that I just explained. We got all of that idea from Revel. The idea that, you know, to foster a team culture
Yeah.
that's driven not only by our business efforts, but also driven by our personal efforts as well. Revel was just, I think when I started, they might have had 2 offices. Now we have 22. And, it was one of those things where the owners were never turning down an idea. They were listening to what their realtors were telling them. They were listening to the ideas that, myself and some of the other selected members were bringing to the table. And now it's all implemented and rolling out, and we're doing new things. So I think the biggest reason as why I moved to Revel and why I'm still at Revel is simple. It's the opportunities.
Awesome.
And I provide my team with the same opportunities. I never got in real estate to stay a realtor. I got into this business to start a company, develop others into that same mindset, and then see where we can take it. How far can we grow this? And Revel's of the same mind.
Okay. Now, the other thing I really picked up on going through your Facebook and LinkedIn and your website,
Yep.
I really feel strongly that your videos stand out in your marketing. And again, going through so many realtors' websites, you see a lot of similarities. Now, this is what I got from your videos, and take it for what it's worth. But they're short, and they're to the point. They're not all dressed up, styled, staged homes. They look like a real presentation. You've got a good, vibrant personality, but they're not like long videos. They're very short. And I love them because I watched it and I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to have to watch that again.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of some of the mindset with your marketing videos, that you're trying to get that?
Honestly, I would love to say that we have some master plan, but we really don't. We're just ourselves, and we present the information that we've learned, or we present our listings as we believe they should be presented. I don't really understand why. Because I think it's because I did what all the other realtors were doing 5 years ago, and I've already evolved 5 different times since then. And so now it's like, what's the point of even doing a YouTube listing video? So we still do it to keep the sellers happy and paste it into our listing presentations or our marketing presentation story. But at the same time, we really only put the focus into the reels, into the shorter clips. So the shorter clips are something like, hey, this is how I feel this home should be presented in the way it is. So if I know that everything's all on one level and it's in an area that's geared towards, seniors, I'm going to present it as if I'm talking to a senior. I'm not going to be talking about the hockey arena and this and that. I'll touch on the amenities, sure. But I'm going to talk more about, because I only have such little time, I'm only going to talk about what is going to appeal to that specific target demographic. And then the other thing is I come in, I do a short little intro, and then my team members come in and show them the house. They go into each different room, and they're in a different room reading a book or having some wine or something like that. It's just to keep the people, engaged. We try to do on camera as best as we can. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. We have to play some B-roll.
Well, I really find that your videos stand out. And I'll get to this next topic in just a second, but Michelle is incredible as a team leader in her company, and she is a financial company. She assists people in unique ways in the States. But the part I'm getting at is that, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but what Andrew just mentioned is his videos being short and designed primarily for reels. Is that not interesting to you?
That's what's going on today. I mean, that's what's really hot. The short reels, the short, whatever you put on social media, people want to watch it, but they don't want to watch a long, drawn out presentation. Just small tidbits of information at a time. And I tell you what, Andrew, you're onto something, because you make me feel like that I could come into real estate with what you do and be successful. Because why? You've already, and not many people are going to talk about failure, and failure is part of success. And you come on here transparent, telling us that you just failed, but you know what? You made it work.
Yeah,
And what's
caught
really
that too.
weird about this too is I just wrote a post today.
Yeah.
I said, if you fail, congrats. I said, failure is part of success.
Mm-hmm.
Fail until you win. At least you did not quit. And we see a lot of people that fail the first time and they're gone. But what they don't realize is failure is a part of success. And the more you fail, the closer you are to that success. So I really thank you for being transparent and telling people, hey, you know what,
Yeah.
as a realtor, I failed, because you know what, that makes you more personable. It makes you easier for people to communicate with you, easier for you to connect with people. So yeah, I believe in what you're doing. I would jump in right now if I was in in Canada, and I would go into real estate, because now I believe I could do it.
You know what? I want to, first of all, Andrew, you can see that Michelle and I are very different people and very interesting people, because she just caught on to something there that is important to you. And I think she brought it to the next level. To me, I can see why Stacy referred you to me, because of what Michelle just commented on. The fact that you not only are humble enough to talk about it, but you didn't paint it as being a drama story. You just said, look, I completely failed the first time I started my team, and I just kept rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding. And in all honesty, that is very special. I agree with Michelle on that. Now, there's another point I want to get to before too long here. And you talked about talking to the target audience in your video. Okay. Again, that's really standing out to me, because a lot of the examples and videos I've seen in the business, people are not talking specifically to a target market or audience. They're just going, ha, la, 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 la. Sometimes it's look at me, look at me, look at me, or look at this house, look at this house, look at this house. I need to sell it.
Yeah.
The fact that you're talking to a person directly as trying to, talk to them why they'd be interested as a target audience. The other thing that caught my attention is your podcast work. I can see why you accepted to come on here. You are very comfortable in the podcast world. I've seen some of them. Okay. Do you have your own podcast?
Yes, we do. It's called the Fine Life Podcast.
Perfect. So that's what we're talking about. The Fine Life Method is actually a podcast, and it's called the Fine Life Podcast. And where can our viewers and listeners take that in?
It's everywhere. Spotify, Apple, YouTube.
Awesome. And how long have you been doing the podcast for?
So I've been doing that particular podcast for 12 whole months in September.
Wow.
But I did the Be Revolutionary podcast, which is our brokerage podcast for the past 3 years. And then I did the Daily Reel for 3 years before that as well. So
amazing.
Well, I've been doing podcasts for almost 10 years now. I love it.
I like it too, because it's an expression. It's another way to, get your brand out there, get your face out there, make yourself relatable publicly is a big, big deal, and it's not easy. And so I appreciate that. And what I love is the fact, again, I'll go very quickly back to it, of talking to your target audience. Is that what you do in the Fine Life podcast? Do you talk to your target audience? What is the main goal with your podcast?
The idea is, what are successful people doing? The sacrifices, the wins, the losses, the implementation, the innovation. What are they doing that helps them live that fine life? Sure. And we've had many people on that look at what that fine life means. Is it having weekends off? Is it barely working at all? Is it being able to work 7 days a week without caring or feeling stressed about it? It's all dependent on how you feel about it, but the sacrifices and the steps and the processes are, although slightly different, it's all kind of similar. We all kind of have different goals, but a lot of how we get there is similar.
Awesome. So again, I think you're on a beautiful path here with your career. I think you've really got it in check. And I just saw Michelle nodding. Michelle, you want to add anything to that?
Like I said, I would join today, because he makes it so believable. and it's real. I mean, he's very transparent.
Mhm.
Anybody that's going to talk, look, you got most people that are only going to talk about the successes, and when they only talk about success, you got to know that they had to have some failures along the way,
Mhm.
and we all had some failures. But the thing is, Andrew could have quit a long time ago. He could have went on and did something else, but he has a passion for it. He's still doing it. His team is growing. That should tell you something right there.
Sure it is. What did you do before you were a realtor, Andrew?
I did gym sales memberships.
Oh wow.
Wow. So I'm assuming you work out frequently. That's part of your regular routine.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's whatever fits into my lifestyle now. 3-4 times a week.
Awesome. And the most important part of this show to me is to learn more about the people behind the business. So, what are your next goals with your career and in personal life? Where do you see yourself the next year and then the next 5?
Yeah. So by next year, we'll have another market opened and
Okay.
launched and ready to go.
Sure.
We'll have at least 20 realtors by the end of next year, and that's a minimum.
Wow.
And then within 5 years, we'll have 100 realtors, and we'll have a minimum of 5 locations.
And are you going to keep it all in Ontario?
No.
No.
So my goal is international as well as national.
So, and I don't know Revel very well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it like a digital brokerage?
No. Actually, we have everything you need is digital. Training, education, accountability,
Sure.
paperless. However, we believe very, very strongly in brick and mortar and culture and having people together. So we'll never open a digital brokerage. We tried that once, didn't work, and thankfully the core group of that team stuck together, and now they have the physical location.
Well, I really appreciate your time, you joining us today, sharing a little bit about this, because again, I like learning about different people, and someone who is a leader that stands out from the rest, that's willing to take risks, that admits defeat and learns from mistakes, like Michelle's pointed out a couple times, being as relatable as you. I can see why you're succeeding, and again, I really appreciate your openness and you're willing to share all that with us today.
I think he's going to reach his goal of that 100 sooner than 5 years.
You think so?
Yes, I do. I wrote it down. Put today's date.
Yeah.
But I believe that that's going to happen much sooner.
Okay.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
It is amazing, and you know what? Michelle's a very good judge of character, and I firmly believe in what she says and what she picks up. Often, I think that that's pretty awesome. So, and did I pronounce your name properly, Andrew Perrie?
Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
Fantastic. You can reach Andrew Perrie at 905-380-6702. TheFineEstateTeam.com, of course, is their website. And not just the website, just Google search them. You'll find them quickly on all the different platforms. And of course, you can contact him at andrew@revelrealty.ca. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Andrew, before we wrap this up?
Yeah, honestly, the easiest place to find me is Instagram at the Andrew Perrie, and it's where I post the majority of my content.
Sure.
Again, it's all geared towards entrepreneurs, salespeople, and realtors. I post my listings when I get new ones, but I rarely post real estate specific to me. It's always about value and what I'm sharing.
Okay, well, I appreciate that very much. And again, that's another interesting topic. The fact that you specifically focus on Instagram compared to the other medias. Why is that?
To me personally, this is only my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with any type of business strategies or whatever. I believe TikTok just, for me, isn't working. It's a little vanity. I haven't been able to close many people on TikTok. Facebook I use a lot. LinkedIn I don't use a lot. Most of my clients, even the top 1%ers, I just find them all on Instagram. So it's where I hang out.
Perfect. There's no right or wrong answer. So I was
Absolutely. It has to fit.
I was just
you.
curious. Yeah, for sure. Okay, Andrew, look at I won't keep you. Pleasure having you. If you, your team, or other companies that you know of are looking to get interviewed and share their experiences with us, we'd love to hear from them. Our doors are always open, and so are our ears. We love hearing in stories just like yours. So thank you again very much for sharing yours. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate
Okay.
you.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
very much. Okay, bye-bye. Well, Michelle, that was pretty cool. And what did you say?
Yes, amazing. That was amazing. Oh my gosh.
I enjoyed that too. There was a lot of key parts there that really stood out to me speaking with him, and that's what this is about, meeting those people. So, Stacy, thank you again for referring Andrew. We have let me pull up the calendar here. We have Jamie Swally from Remax coming on Thursday the 24th. That's our next guest. And again, this is another interesting individual, very successful and well-known realtor in our province here locally, Michelle. But I'm interested in sharing and hearing his story because he's a very colorful personality. But again, I absolutely love a lot of things that Andrew just shared with us. So I wouldn't mind seeing him come back on our show down the road.
You know, just hearing Andrew talk, it kind of made me think, you know what? What am I doing? You know, it's time for me to get out there and like push and do those things. But, you know, we all have our life set up differently. But if you look at your life and you compare it, I'm not really comparing to someone else. But just hearing their story, I mean, there's a lot to learn from what he just said. And if you apply it to your own life, oh my gosh, you'd be like,
right. And now here's the thing. Why are you there? Because the area sells it itself. That's a pretty cool comment. Straight up honesty on that one as well. That caught my attention. He's got 7 agents working for him or with him, and that's not a long time that he's been in the business compared to many. So for him to be as successful that he is, to have that big of a team, to have closed over $300 million in sales, really speaks volume of who he is today and where he's going, if you ask me. So,
and you want to know the most important part about him?
what?
He's so selfless. Like, he's not like the person, he wants to put himself out there up front. He's putting everybody else up front, put himself behind, and like it's working. You know, don't put, like he says, like it's not me. It's not about me. This company could run fine without me.
Yep. So,
right, and that's really important for someone in his position to even say. I mean, like, wow.
And then I really liked the fact that he's active at podcasts for quite some time. That's a long time to be doing podcasts for. And then the clarity that he shed on his videos. I noticed that the videos were short, but I'm telling you, you go look up his videos and you're going to go, wow. It just leaves that impression that you got to hit rewind and see it again. Like he's on to something. And I also find it interesting that his target audience for marketing is Instagram, right? You're very heavily involved in Facebook. His is Instagram. Some people are TikTok. But I like how we're learning different techniques and different styles and what makes people tick. So to me, that was the epitome of the Realtors Choice Network show. As always, you can find it our show on the Realtors Choice Network group. It's always a great place to start to send people to if they want to be able to be notified when the show's coming up, special events, things like that. The RCN, the Realtors Choice Network.com, we've got thousands, and I think there's over 100,000 businesses on the website right now. As you know, there is a 6,000 page upgrade going to our Realtors Choice Network website. The entire Canadian division is going to be completed on September 10th. And then we're going to be going for the rest of the year, just upgrading and updating the incredible network that we have. We're so grateful for. Again, that's realtorschoicenetwork.com. And lastly, as you can see on the slide, our Talk to the Experts program is just starting to develop, Michelle. And something so special and I'm so proud of it. I can't wait to share it with more. Next slide. Look at this. Oh, who is it? It's our newest sponsor, our newest partner, George Tremis of GT Realty Group. He is top 3% in the GTA area. Contact him at gt1realty@gmail.com or call him for your first initial discovery call at 866-530-7737. He is going to be a partner and a business partner of ours for life. I know it. I feel it. And I'm just grateful to have him around and in our lives and in our business. And like I said, so many exciting things happening with George and what he's doing in his career. I can't wait to start sharing more of those updates. Well, doing well with Michelle is always something. I'm so glad you're back. When you go on those little vacations or work trips, I think they're both the same in your eyes, but I miss you. And I like having you back on the show. And anytime you're looking to do well, do it well with Michelle. And you can contact her at 1-559-612-2111. And that's Meet with Michelle at vcsolutions360.com. I am Stephen for a reason. You can reach me at realtorschoiceproducts@gmail.com, 204-894-7477. And I wanted to also share that if anyone's contacting us by phone, don't be surprised if my son answers the phone. My son Carter, as you know, or you might recall from episode 20-something, is pleased to be working on the phones and reaching out to our different business members. And so if you do call that number, don't be surprised if Carter answers the phone. And you can contact me, obviously, anytime by email. Our phones, our platforms, you name it, we're easy to get hold of. Michelle, you live 24/7 online. You're easy to get a hold of, right?
Always.
And I think that we gotta do our own live event. And I'm not talking about a show right now. I'm talking about something a little bit unique and different. And I bring it up, Michelle, because I'm hearing about it from so many different people that I'm talking to on a regular basis. And I would say you and your team Thrive should be kind of showcased. And what I mean by that, I think you should have a live event on how you grow your team, Michelle, how you nurture your team, how you manage it. And I think that might be a good live event to put on for people. What do you think?
I think that would be too. I mean, I don't always give myself enough credit, but I really care about people, and that's where it begins, and that's where it ends.
Sure.
For someone to want to be a part of anything, they have to feel welcome. And
Yep.
So that's my major emphasis. Doesn't matter if they're a superstar or a beginner. It doesn't matter to me. I will treat everybody the same, make them all feel wanted, make them feel needed, make them feel a part of it, because everybody needs to be a part of something.
Well, I just marked that down on my very special piece of scrap paper here beside my computer. The Welcome live event sounds pretty intriguing to me. I like that idea. So let's keep putting that together, and advertising and hosting and doing these different types of live events coming up are definitely going to be angles and future conversation pieces of the show, as well as amazing guests now lined up for the show. I just want to wrap it up with this, is that we are now booked, obviously, to the end of August. I've got 2 more guests lined up for the month of September. So if any business or anybody feels they would like to be showcased, endorsed, and promoted, the RCN Show is a great place for us to do that with and share that experience with. And we look forward to hearing from you. So anybody out there, you'd like to talk about a business, share a business, showcase a business, refer a friend, reach out to us today. We look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, if you're in the United States and you want to contact me about being on the show, hey, I'm open. Just contact me, and we'll get it set up for you.
Amazing. Okay, with that, no further ado. It is now 3:45 Central Standard Time. I appreciate your viewing and tuning into us today. Today is August 22nd, 2023. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.